Present.
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 Noel, Smith,
Yes.
Steelman, Taylor. 11 present, 1 absent.
Wasn't even
I
coordinated.
saw your whole demeanor. I like that one.
Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
I have one addition. I didn't see it on the agenda. I just picked up on the thing. So, okay, so last night at community development, we motioned and approved a
Add the flag policy under new business.
I was telling you what we're adding. We're adding the motion to approve the new flag policy.
That will come out of your committee. Now, is there public comment? You're on.
There's at least one person, right? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Deacons, 4212 Airport Road. I'm here to report back on the Pride Fest activities. I wanted to personally thank the Borough Police Chief, but I don't see him, so I'll slip him a card in the mail. But I wanted to thank him for the large visible police force at the event, because I'm not gonna lie, without them, I would have been scared. My husband, myself, and a few friends went to peacefully protest this event simply by holding signs that said, I'm protesting this event. But we were met almost immediately by middle fingers, profanities, shouting. I've actually never really experienced something like that. But we felt it was important to be there, and we were peaceful. And if you don't believe me, you can ask the Borough Police. This community of people like to tout themselves as loving to all, but that is not what I found. With the exception of one young girl who offered us water because it was very hot, and we stood there for 5 hours, and I did thank her, but if I could see her again, I would say, thank you and well done. This event was exactly what my friends and I said it would be when we came to the last council meeting. It was sexual in content. This was adult men dressed provocatively as women. This is not something that should be held in our town square. It should never be allowed again. It's not a family-friendly event. It is not for all eyes to see. I did not watch the event. I had my back to it, but I did see the 26 photos that the Gazette posted online. And I saw the people that surrounded us to snap off selfies of themselves to, I'm assuming, post on Facebook, never once asking for our permission. This event was voted on and held without most people in our community even knowing that it was going to happen. So it was met with very little opposition. I do not think that will be the case again. This community of people has hijacked the rainbow. Our White House has recently hung the rainbow flag between 2 American flags. This is shameful. That's abusive to every veteran that has served this country, who's fought and died, and to their families. It's shameful. The pride flag does not promote unity. It promotes division. It promotes a small group of people's sexual agenda. And let's be clear, that's what it is, a sexual agenda. Thank you.
Sure.
Hello guys, my name is Jimmy Garninos. I want to come in here to talk about
Address, please.
oh, my address, 42A College Lodge Road, Indiana, PA 15701. I just wanted to say that we should have more than 3 hours of disability awareness to the community, because that is not doing a good job for the community and the disabled people. The disabled people are still getting shunned, like blocks and everything like that. And then I just like to respond to the woman who was just up here. America is a place where we're free. We can be who we want to be and when we want to be it. And if you didn't want to see the protest or whatever, you have the right not to go. Like, let me repeat, not to go. You don't have to go there and protest. If you don't want to be there, don't go there. It's that simple. It's an A or B question. And if you don't want it, choose B. Don't say C. It goes against everything. The pride flag to me represents unity from the gay people who are not getting anything from the regular people. And we just have to have more gay pride days, because apparently this county does not like it. They think we're in our own little country. We have our own rules, but we have to follow the Constitution that gives right to everyone. It doesn't matter if you straight, bi, gay, transsexual, or anything like that. We just have to get all our heads out of the butt of the 45th president and live to the Constitution, not what people say it is, but what it is. If you can't understand it, read the conversation. And Jeremy Berlin out. Love you all.
No one else? We can move ahead. We don't need an executive session as far as I know.
Not that I know of.
Then it's time for committee reports. Administration.
We don't have a report. We haven't met yet, so.
I know. Community development. You do have something.
So we do have an action item. Before I get to that, though, I'd like to mention that, the first steering committee meeting for the comprehensive plan is Thursday, June 22nd. And the members have been informed that that's the time. It'll be right here in this building, I believe. It's at 6 o'clock. So we are on our way with that. Also, there's a grand reopening of the Hoodlebug Trail Extension, and that's on July 8th. And at 11:30, they're gonna do a ride from the trailhead to Hosses and back as a, nice little thing to do for the opening of the trail. Other than that, moving on to the action item. We did pass a draft of the flag ordinance, or not ordinance, the flag policy. It was sent out in an email to everyone. I'm not sure if it was in the packet that got sent out to everyone, but everyone should have had ample time to read it. There's copies available if they haven't, and the solicitor has said he did no issue with it, so Pat has seen it, and we would like to adopt this.
The only question that I have, and this is more of a logistical for the manager, for the staff, is where do you procure the flags and who's gonna pay for the flag procurement?
When that came up last night, I said I'd happily provide the flags to the borough, so.
Also, we assumed that that policy did not state that these flags must be flown, but that if any flags are flown, these are the flags that will be flown, so.
Yeah, it's not locking the borough into flying the
Right,
flags,
It does
but,
not say they shall be flown. It
but
says what-
these are the only flags that may be flown,
Yes,
is how I read that.
yep.
Are there official flags? Who is choosing the flags? Because when I look up flags, there's a variety of pride flags, there's a variety of. Like, there are no official flags, so generally, like, when we approve the borough flag, we have official flag that we approve the flying of that specific flag. And we're directing staff to fly a flag. Who is directing staff and how are we directing them if we don't tell them what flag to fly?
Are they nationally recognized logos?
Apparently it would be up to us to designate it as official, because I can't find any official from the government saying that it's official, this particular flag over another flag. So
In this policy, if we're going to,
It doesn't say we have to do it. So if we decide that we want to fly an Asian Pacific American Heritage flag in May, then it seems like it would be up to a counselor to come up and say, here's the flag that we'd like to fly, and we'll put that one up. And if there's disagreement on that, then I guess we don't get to put one up.
Other thing about having this policy,
or any flag that would recognize the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and I can't find one. So some of these just don't have flags, but
But certainly, opportunities to check with our local community. There may be a disability awareness group here in town that would say, here's a flag that we would like you to fly to represent us here. Let's chat with folks at the NAACP and say, what's great for African American Heritage Month?
I agree.
And if we don't get an answer to those, then we don't fly a flag that month.
I've noticed in other ordinances and other states, there's a time limit to how long a flag is flown. Do we have anything like that in this?
Yeah, I think the duration of the designated month. Yeah. Well, some of them are like the, well, I guess it's September 15th, to October 15th is the National Hispanic Latino Heritage Month. So ones that have specific dates will be followed.
Process for choosing which flags to fly, since it's not a blanket policy of we're flying all these flags. What is somebody gonna bring forward, I'd like to fly this flag, and then we as a council approve it, or does it go to staff?
Out of community development.
I thought it was just gonna happen. I didn't think we had to make a. Yeah.
A flag, like we need to know what pride flag.
With regard to what the flag would in fact look like. Whereas, right,
You have to include what that flag looks like, because we're putting a symbol up on the building, so we need to see what the symbol.
This doesn't say we have to vote on every flag. This just says these are the flags that we fly.
Doesn't say, like, it's not fleshed out.
I would say it'd be a bad idea if we were to circle back to this group, even if there's only 8 of us every month. I would love a recommendation from the community development committee or staff to say, here's the good one. We've reached out, or here's one. We don't have one for this.
I would be okay with making an amendment of some kind that gets added to this that has the actual picture of the flag. Casey brought that up in an email. So if you want to add something to this, I'm fine with that. I don't think it should be something that we vote on ever again. Like, it should just be like, let's vote on because it does state in here that it's automatically updated when a new Heritage Month becomes recognized by the Library of Congress. So I'm okay with adding a list of, if somebody wants to,
As if we could, cause we're gonna tell them what to do.
The flag and and then you guys come back and be like, that's not the right flag. Like,
Cause we're basically renting space for symbols, right, out there. So, and this limits it, so we're not opening up to the public, which I think is smart. We're not having people come in and say, fly my flag. It's just these flags. But there is no flag. So I guess we have to figure out flags.
Which again, we could probably connect with community groups here in town. For the start, I would recommend us not us personally doing it, but us rather reaching out to these a lot of these interest groups here in town and saying, what's your suggestion?
What we're trying to avoid.
Well, no, because now we have our specific list. Here's the list. Here's the list. We want to reach out to these 5 or 6 organizations.
Specific list, not on any flag flown.
Yes. Congress's heritage flags, and those are the ones we're going to ask about.
Says heritage flags, then they're specific flags.
Heritage
That's the point. I think that's a little bit the point, right?
It looks like they don't have. I agree. It would be lovely for somebody to I'm all for not having a conversation about it, but if we don't have a flag right now, let's not get too bogged down in it. Let's ask community partners if they can suggest one.
Can I rewind a little bit? This conversation has been going on for a long time. Right? I'm literally maybe even a calendar year at this point. Just again, I guess, so we're all on the same page as what it is. What is the actual goal of this flag policy? Right? What is it we are trying to achieve by flying any other flags other than the one we already have? Oh, I mean, anyone can answer. I'm not.
Particularly talk about it in terms of Pride Month this month. I think we should have a pride flag flying right now, whether it's the trans equality flag or the rainbow flag. I don't care. We should have those flags flying right now because it demonstrates our explicit support for the LGBTQ plus community, which makes us a welcoming community. All these others that we've got, we get into there's a lot of different groups of a lot of flags, so I like that we have something to sort of focus it down on. The purpose of each one of those, I think, is to demonstrate that we have a commitment to being a welcoming community. We have a commitment to various heritages, and we are actively pursuing those things by using public space to display that. Now, that's an opinion. I think we should do that. I think that makes us a better place. I think people, as opposed to folks who came in and were protesting, I think people will like that. I think that is a plus for it. I think that makes us, what makes people want to move here. We've been going on this for about 10 years, and generally, in terms of passing as many policies, well, many policies that demonstrate open support, welcoming community, welcoming to marginalized groups explicitly. We can't really do so much of that, but this is one thing we can do, and I think it is good for the borough. It is good for it's good to recognize that here is a body of folks who feel like homophobia, racism, anti-Semitism, these are important issues, and we want to combat those publicly. And so that's why it's important to me.
Can you explain Pride Month?
No. No, no, I'm not going to explain Pride Month. There's plenty of information out there. I'm not LGBTQ plus. I celebrate Pride Month, and I'd like to put it up because I think gay folks here in town, in Indiana County and across the country are specifically being targeted for who they are. And I think it's important to stand up for these people on behalf of these folks. So you can vote against it.
What I'm saying is, hold on, what I'm saying is, does Pride Month include heterosexual couples, traditional families? Is that also inclusive? Because I thought it was inclusive. I don't know.
Like all lives matter, right? That's what that is. That's all lives matter. Sorry, I misspoke. It's a little bit like all lives matter. The folks responded to Black Lives Matter with all lives matter because we're like, well, all lives do matter. But the response was, it is Black lives who are being attacked right now. So sure, we're proud of all families. I'm proud of everybody. But a pride flag is about the LGBTQ plus community in particular. And it is a statement, as far as I can tell, my personal opinion, it's a statement that these folks are part of our community. They are our families, they're our friends.
This past event, they were totally excited about heterosexual or traditional families having, maybe a stand or to take pride in that as well. And that's why I'm asking for the community, because I know that I've been asked some questions and I'm presenting them to council to have answers. Does it always?
Is a really good example of this. What your last statement, I think, is a really good example of what we're doing here. This is a primarily heterosexual council and largely white. And the only thing around here that we're kind of hitting on is the National Women's History Month. We have fairly good sex equity on the council. So you're about to have a group of folks who are going to vocally and clearly state that they want to include all of these different folks, right? So just like at the Pride Fest, heterosexual folks were totally welcome. Same thing here, kind of reverse though. A number of folks who aren't necessarily represented by these flags saying, hey, we like all of you. This is a great place to be and we want you to be part of it. That is what we're trying to communicate here.
And
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say also, as far as the pride and heterosexuals, we don't have to fight to be included as white heterosexual people. 70 years ago, I wasn't alive, but if I was, I could drink from any fountain I wanted. But if you were alive back then, he would be told there are certain things. So it's very equivalent. The pride movement is very much the same as our race movement was in the 60s, because it didn't make any sense why he couldn't drink out of a fountain that I could drink out of. The same way, to me, my opinion is that it doesn't make any sense that that person can't love, has zero to do with sex, because I frankly don't care what heterosexuals do in their privacy. But it's just that you have as many human rights as I do. That's all. It's as simple as that. And I think that's what Pride Month is.
Yeah.
About, to me, it's not about this, it's not about flying the flag, it's about,
He brought up this month, this flag. That's why I
right,
asked
well, I
about
think that's
this
the
month, that
catalyst
flag.
for the policy.
Back to the beginning a year ago, like the very first thing brought up was specifically the pride flag, of which people have pointed out there isn't one, right? There's multiple, and I'm not gonna sit here and try to pretend I know them all, okay? And so, but this policy is a flag policy that's supposed to be all encompassing for moving forward, what's allowed, what's not allowed, how do we do it, how do we not do it? What is, which pride flag, I don't know how many versions of any of these there are, right? But let's assume there's more than one just for the sake of this conversation. Which version for each one will be flown? And so that's why I'm asking, well, it doesn't matter to you.
To the point of what we're doing, trying to highlight these areas.
Okay, so let's stipulate that for a second, but but that's not the only thing we're trying to do.
Could we,
We're-
getting back to policy.
May I?
Rob, I just wanted to mention that, ask Pat here if it would be okay, since this is a flag policy, we could approve this policy and also say we're going to come up with a list of approved flags to go with the policy.
Is there a reason why we're pushing this now without a complete policy? Like, it feels a little.
I would like to be able to put a pride flag up.
That's my goal.
This year. And here's why. It, you know, it has been a year. It has been a year.
Here, and we're getting it halfway through the month.
Yes.
Right?
We passed the policy now, we put the flag up now, we demonstrate our support. We speak back to a lot of folks in the community that are like, this isn't right, and we are.
Are we choosing that tonight? Or that has to be, then it needs to be provided.
The progress pride flag, that's the one with all-inclusive progress pride flag. And if you don't know what that flag is, odds are you're gonna vote no.
We have too many people talking, one at a time.
We're going to say, the discussion right now is on this policy. The implications and further things of it, unless they're relevant to whether we should approve this policy or not, should be for another time.
And the intention of the policy was so that we don't have random groups coming in every month saying, fly my flag. That was the intent.
Mhm.
So by limiting it to these specific things. That's what that policy is. Now, the next question is, and it's been brought up. We're putting staff in a situation where they put up, you bring a pride flag in and they fly it, and someone else comes in and says, wait, that's not the right one. So the question then becomes twofold. One, and I understand where you're at, Mr. Smith, I get it. The question becomes, does this council want to take the next deliberative step and come back and say, here's our months, here's the flags that we approve? Or do you want to approve this? You still don't have a necessary flag that you're in agreement on for Pride Month. So now you're putting staff into a bind.
We could vote on that.
You could,
The
but
progress pride flag is this one right here.
That's the current month, right? So to the point of like trying to vote on this and have clarity.
I would
We
like
could
to
have a
point out
subsidiary
that
vote
last year we
on
did rush.
The flag for this month. Right, I would say, so my suggestion would, and this is just sort of a motion because I'm tired. Would be to vote on the policy as it stands. And then, since we're already kind of doing, this is new business anyways, then to vote for the specific. I don't want to use the wrong terminology. The proper flag for the month of June. And then we can come back and have a secondary vote in a month for the rest of these flags. And that seems to take care of everyone's concerns about voting for flags, getting this done in a timely fashion, and having a policy on the books.
Feel tired tonight. I really not feel like yelling over people. I have been trying to make a point for some time now, if you guys would allow me to. Okay. It is regarding the policy. And like I was trying to get to the point of what the beginning was, and Mr. Solicitor here touched on it. It's not only to fly specific flags at specific times. It was also to add a layer of protection for the borough. It's also supposed to add guidance to staff. It's also supposed to have clear parameters. Which flag is only one of those things? It feels a little missing of information and other things. 1 year ago, almost to the day, right? We rushed through a vote. It was passed and it was immediately smacked in our face as a council, right? I remember the council, even if I wasn't for this. It was immediately thrown back in our face that it was done poorly, incorrectly, and we couldn't do it. And so 1 year later, it feels like we're once again trying to rush through it to hit a self-imposed deadline while missing a lot of critical information that would allow a manager, for example, to not have to come to council every single time, because then we're still open to, I don't like your flag, I want my version of the flag. For any of these, for any time, and that's where I think the danger of getting, now, if there is no flag, I'm about getting community input. But if we as a council decide on a, African American History Month flag, I don't think that should be up for interpretation, because then you're gonna have this discussion every single time it comes up, potentially, maybe not, probably not in a lot of these, but it might. And then the staff is once again in the bind of inundating with phone calls because we wanted to hurry. And that feels a little like history repeating itself.
Weren't you one of the folks that was supposed to put this together after the last one?
Oh, I can certainly claim some credit
Okay.
with Josh. We collectively screwed the pooch on getting this done in a timely manner, but I'm sharing the blame for the record.
Fair enough.
So I was not aware that there's a pride flag currently hanging on the White House, but my best guess is that it's some sort of official flag. So I would think that if it's in front of the White House, wouldn't that be what we buy?
Again, we're not only talking about
I
that
know, but I-
specific flag.
And do you know how many of the Heritage Month have flags?
Except
Official.
You are right, but I'm not alone.
It's totally separate from the policy.
Right,
These are the flag that the
Right.
policy wants us to fly.
okay.
Sure.
Interest groups have time to put flags up completely. I love that there's a time limit as well. But on the flip side, if we have a time limit, then we possibly only have 12 special interest groups that we can address. Should we leave this open to the public so that we can say, well, we gave the public a chance to vote on this and perhaps we left out, you mentioned anti-Semitic. Is there a Jewish flag on there? Oh, good. Okay, I didn't check the flag list. So that's why I just wanted to see if there's, maybe we should leave room for the public to have a vote so we can say,
These months are recognized by the Library of Congress. These weren't willy-nilly decided by this board. This is a federal government agency that sets these months and lays them out. Now, the question is, we get into the minutia. What flag?
Yeah.
Question. I'd like to call the question.
We're voting on the policy as stated, correct?
Motion that based on all of your time and effort and thought and consideration of everybody involved or not involved, that because it does feel rushed, because I do believe that there will be possibilities and open opportunities for council to be held accountable in a negative fashion, I do recommend and make a motion that we table this conversation until further. Yes, please.
I always get confused on that.
Privilege. We have to vote on it first.
Is there a?
Is there a second to the motion to table? Okay, moved and seconded to table motion from the committee. For roll call vote. No,
Bozzo. DeBowser. Ford. Brick. No. Fronta. Noel. Smith. Steelman. Taylor. 6 now.
Six, yes.
6 no, so that's the motion failed.
no, 6 no.
Six, no.
So
That's
the
right,
question
there's
now
only
is-
11 of us here.
The motion fails. Yeah, the motion to table failed.
Because we don't have.
Now we're voting on the motion from the Community Development Committee. Again, another roll call. Yes.
DeBowser.
No.
Ford. Frick. Herring.
Yes.
Pratza.
Yes.
Noel. Smith.
Yes.
Gilman. Taylor.
Yes.
7 yes.
Motion passes.
Can I make a motion to make the Progress Pride
Wait,
flag?
hold on. What's the question? Should be 6.
I would just redo it.
7 then.
Yeah, we're only missing one council person.
It's 7.
You were right.
Would have been, then the first one should have been
Because
7.
one person didn't vote the same way.
That means the first one was probably.
No. No.
Did the same on the first one, so it should be 7-4 on the on the motion.
Yeah.
Table.
The table should have been 7-4, right, Lori? The motion for the policy, it was approved 7-4.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, we got that straightened out?
Yes.
I did make another motion, but it was the wrong time of the meeting.
Well, I mean.
I move to
Yeah.
approve the Progress Pride flag as the flag that we fly for this month's according to the flag policy that we just passed.
Is there a second? There's a second. Is there any discussion of this?
Who is purchasing all these flags? Are you, is the borough purchasing these flags? None of these flags? I want to know if I have to run out and buy any flags tomorrow.
Please will be the ones putting it up, right? Okay,
So
just
That-
making sure.
after this vote, can I ask you a question? Okay, it's not about this particular vote. I just want clarity on something else.
Did particular flag, and we know which one it is. Is there discussion of that motion?
Just for clarity, we're saying that is the most accurate of the whatever choice you want to make. I would feel so bad for Nicole if tomorrow she gets, that's the wrong flag after all of this, okay? That is what you were attesting to.
In the end, there's no official anything. It's whatever we recognize. And this is the one I'd like choose to recognize as.
I think that's the most widely.
When it's time to fly the other flag, so that flag's coming to council for approval?
Next council meeting, I will have a list of pictures of all the other flags and we can vote on them then. So one more time and then that'll be it.
We have a motion on the floor to approve this flag that Josh has a name for it, I don't remember.
Progress Pride flag.
Progress Pride flag. This doesn't need a roll call.
Approve this as our flag for the month that, right?
He's asking for a roll.
You're asking for a roll call, well, then we'll have to have a roll call. Okay,
Rod.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Yes.
Herring.
Yes.
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 Taylor.
The one.
With that flag, I'd have to do my own research to confirm. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Is there anything more from community
Not
development?
anymore.
I just have one clarification question. That, so the actual policy was passed with no amendments. Or.
Yeah, we're just, at the next meeting, we'll have a list of the pictures, all the flags that we think we want to fly. We can vote on it.
So I just want to make sure.
New development with following up on that, I guess. We don't need a motion on it, but yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Back on your agenda.
I hate that.
Not
No,
official
I-
flags.
I don't know. I thought we would be,
Right along.
smiley
There
face.
is a motion from public safety that Don sent to me. And I forgot to pull it up.
I don't remember seeing it.
He does send periodic emails from time to time.
I'm going to be here tonight.
An email I did not.
In my other email.
Email that Donald sent to us. Oh. I'll get mine.
Everyone's trying to find it. Whoa. I don't bring one bit of technology.
Into in my regular account. Here it is. This is an event. Permission, the summer concert event in IRMC Park on Thursday, July 21st. From 5:30 to 9 PM. Right.
And it is a group that has worked with IRMC Park in the past. And I believe Donald and I were in favor of approving this. So that's my recommendation on behalf of him not being here.
Oh, it was approved by the committee. Oh, okay, so it's coming out of your committee. So we don't need a second.
Why would it become, it's a weird shape.
We'll be communicating with them if there's anything that needs to be discussed or amended. But yeah, we did approve this, Donald and I. Thank you.
What's, you know, the group is? Oh,
I had it written down, Donald.
It's static for my page.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
Oh, okay.
you were there. You were there. I was not taking notes either. But yeah, it sounded like a nice event. They've dealt with them in the past.
All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Is there anything else from public safety?
Birds, thank you notes. There was a little bit of discussion regarding the two new employees, how the one is progressing. There's another one coming on board. I think he used to be in Smicksburg or something like that. We had the ambulance squad was here talking about their fundraising. We had the fire department talking about that they had done some training with the other groups. There was recently, I think, a fire that they discussed. Yes. And how it reignited and they were on the ball. It was just a very healthy content. Oh, and the dog. A lot of talk about the dogs. Lots of talk about the dogs.
Happening, so make room for both. We haven't.
I was gonna report the pavings gonna start July 5th, that week of July 5th. And about 2 weeks.
Too, and messing things up. In front of my house.
An avenue is underway. I got pictures of that.
Yeah.
Any questions for Public Works? The Lancaster is not here to report for Shade Tree.
The only thing I want to say is the Act 537 plan has been on display here at the Borough. It was advertised. It's been a big discussion, part of Public Works. So we'll be moving forward with that, but it has been on display here. If anybody wants to stop and see the plan, it's open to the public. The next work session, we talked about, there's going to be a lot of happening at the sewage plant. So I thought it would be a good idea to have our next public works
meeting type of tour at the sewage plant because a lot of stuff's gonna be happening down there. Our work session, I'm sorry, work session. A lot of people probably haven't seen the sewage plant, haven't been down there. So, Roland and, they're excited to have us down. Brad and Roland, they said, welcoming us down. So maybe we'll set something up for next month to go down there.
Would that be in lieu of July?
That will be
18th?
in lieu of the,
July 18th meeting.
yes.
Okay.
So we'll advertise that and,
It would support the public coming.
yeah, they would love to give, yes.
Been there, so.
We'll get it advertised and a write-up for, just as a tour session for down there.
Some of us may need transportation.
It's that road going down there, so we'll go ahead and meet here and follow down. I just think it would be a good idea for, especially with what's coming up for down there.
I have a question. And I apologize, I missed last week's meeting. Do you guys talk about tree grade?
We,
Come to gun, it'll be in the next community development meeting, right? But for the,
I'm currently ordering, two like sample ones to come in. We're gonna put them in and probably down on Philly Street where the outdoor dining is for now. Ryan's been doing a lot of research on them, so.
significantly cheaper than any tree grades that we've talked about, since I can hear you thinking, Joe.
All very expensive. So we need to keep on.
They're recyclable, yeah.
Big recycled thing, right? Yeah.
No, no,
Okay.
they're not. But, we're gonna get a couple in and put them in, try them out. And see what they're like.
The Act 537. The Act 537 is on display right now. And these are the sort of things we advertise and nobody ever sees, but I always ask Public Works, I don't really know anything most of the time, if it's, $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, $1 million, 10 million, or 100 million. And this is the largest project that I've seen. It's definitely closer to, it's closer to 100 million. The only project that I've looked at is closer to 100 million. And that's what we're asking the public to review. It's a 30-year project, 30 to 40 years, and it doesn't necessarily have to spend all that. But it's a big sizable chunk, and I would hate for folks to be like, when was that advertised? We're advertising it in the legal way that we do, which is in the paper. We advertise the paper, and then it's available here to review. And so we're doing it very legally, but that legal way can sometimes go, people don't necessarily see it. So if you anticipate somebody's going to be very excited about that, now is the time to weigh in, because once we sort of start, this is the chance.
Any other questions for Nicole? Absent the police chief, I just want to call your attention to the police report that's in your packet. Police activity report. Anything else for us?
The only thing I would like to report is that, with regard to the Patty Bell litigation, we will be filing, for a default judgment. She's not responded. We've advertised everything. So now we're at the point where we should be entering judgment, hopefully, within the next week.
Shed came down from 12 years. We've been trying to get a shed down and it came down today. Today.
The one by the,
Yes.
The property owner agreed. We got it taken down. That was good.
the house is still there.
We're moving on Bell. That should be done. And then we have to decide, then you gotta decide if we want to do a sheriff's sale to enforce the hundreds of thousands of dollars she owes us, which it would be the next logical step, to execute on the judgment that we get, so that we then get ownership of the properties, and then we can decide how we want to take them down. But we have to go through the sheriff's sale process for that.
And that would be the contents of them. Is that correct? But how do we? Okay, so legally, we win the judgment.
We'd get a judgment. The sheriff would go out and tag any property that she would own.
Yeah.
We would tell her to start with these houses first. We would tell the sheriffs to tag those first. If by the date of the sheriff's sale, she chooses not to come in and bid to pay off what she owes, then what would happen is we, as the borough, would say, all right, we want X. And we want to make it significant enough so that if a buyer is serious that would like to come in and buy those properties and rehabilitate them, that's fine. It keeps them on the tax rolls, which is good for us, but we need to make that number significant enough so that you don't get some buyer that's just gonna buy something cheap and then try to, and not do anything. You know, if somebody has, significant amount of money invested, they're more likely that they're going to rehabilitate the property. So, we have to find that sweet spot. We have plenty of money in our judgment. I mean, that judgment's several $100,000 because the fines have accrued over years.
I assume whenever comes time for that kind of evaluation, there's a process and reach out to realtors and et cetera, appraisers, and so forth.
Sheriff sale, I mean, a public auction.
Where do you land on the number? I want 50 grand versus 20 grand.
Would decide,
Or
working with the borough manager and community development, we would come up with a number on each property that we feel is acceptable. Because our goal ultimately is not necessarily collecting the hundreds of thousands of dollars that's owed. Our goal is getting those properties in compliance. And if they cannot be put into compliance, then demolished and, so that the neighborhoods are safer. So that's what I got.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
What do you think the timeline on is that?
I can't speak to how quickly the sheriff will list those for sale, but we will have the judgment within the week. I will petition the court or I will petition the sheriff's department to tag the properties as soon as I have the judgment.
Fall, December, fall.
Yeah, probably. And, those things get scheduled monthly, so that's how that works.
Different question. Are we done with that subject? Regarding legal matters, is there any updates or estimated times of completion of that legal investigation or review of our police department? And Nicole, you had brought up the borough being under review or investigate. I don't like the word investigation, but remember how you had expressed that you would like to see that take place too. Do you have any updates? I have heard.
The police report being done sometime by the end of June, early July is what I'm being told.
Are you wait because of the cost? It's not.
That into next year's budget because the cost,
Suggesting that you look.
Get somebody different. This was expensive,
exceeded the estimate? We did talk about a cost up front.
say that, but then there are other factors that we probably shouldn't discuss in public meeting, so. But because there was some coverage for other officers. Okay, so those legal bills have come in as well. So, it just, what we're saying is we may want to reevaluate our timing on the other departmental reviews. And maybe spread it out over another budget season instead of, doing it all in this budget.
In executive session after all to talk about this?
I don't want to talk,
Slightly ambiguous, but
we're not prepared to discuss it tonight.
Sure.
If that's fair. So I will have those figures and Nicole and I will have that information for you at the July council meeting, if that's acceptable.
I believe there was some additional benefits from having it done relatively rapidly that spreading out to next year may lose. So,
Not the police necessarily. But yeah, we can discuss that. It's up to you guys. But we want to be able to come to you with, here's how much we've spent so far. Here's what we've gotten. Give us direction on where you want to go.
There was discussions of leadership training of some sort. Is that temporarily or something that you feel is still necessary at this time?
We're constantly looking on, through different avenues to go through that, but you can do that in-house online. But
I just didn't know what your vision, I didn't know what your vision was.
Leadership training?
no, we haven't brought anybody in. I'd like to bring somebody in the house. to do. But I mean, the boroughs associations and stuff, we looked online for that.
For the solicitor. Seeing none. It's mine. And I don't have a whole lot, but I want to say I attended the Pride Festival, went extremely well in spite of the fears of some. It was a beautiful day, good music, entertainment, a lot of civic engagement, and there were a lot of little kids having a good time there. I attended a public meeting on IUP's long-range facilities master plan. I was what they were planning that was going to affect the rest of the borough. Unfortunately, there wasn't much to react to. They were just gathering concerns without revealing any ideas that may be floated around for what might be done in the coming years. The one concern that came out of the public Oaks Flag Day ceremony in Oakland Cemetery. There were a lot of flags everywhere, and we were told about them in great detail in the history of each one. And the mayor both gave good little speeches. Unfortunately, my aging plumbing did not allow me to stay to the end. I'm sure we're all looking forward to the impending opening of the new hardware store. I know I've been making a list of things I want to look for.
You know when that's open? You know when it's open?
Very soon.
End of June.
Closure for their opening, don't
That's,
they?
and that's for, that's for August, yeah. the
Oh, it's like an
official-
official opening.
Yeah,
Okay. Events.
That's all I have.
So advertising for.
Able to be with us this evening?
His birthday.
Any new business to come before us? All this? Do we have a motion to adjourn?